So we have got to talk about President Donald Trump's blockbuster trip to Saudi Arabia, marking his first major overseas visit for his second term. Now, let me tell you, this was not just a diplomatic visit. It was a masterclass in deal-making and restoring America's strength. From massive economic wins to a reception fit for royalty, Trump showed the world that though they've all had it easy for the last few years, their days of disrespecting the U.S. are over. Now, I know that there are a lot of world leaders that are going to miss Grandpa Joe and the gaffes that he gave him and the opportunity that they had to mock our country and treat America like a joke while he was in office. But again, those days are over. We're going to look at how this all played out, what happened, what was accomplished, and what the reception was, because it was truly spectacular. Before we get into that, I am Outspoken Samantha. I would love it if you would hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. I am trying to grow this channel and I appreciate your help so much in doing that. So first, let's talk about why Trump was there. So on May 13th, 2025, which was just a few days ago, Trump landed in Riyadh to kick off a 4-day Middle East tour starting in Saudi Arabia, then going to Qatar and the UAE. Now, according to reports, this trip was all business, securing big dollar investments to boost the American economy. The goal was to lock in deals worth over $1 trillion, focusing on energy, defense, and tech like AI. And Saudi Arabia came to the table as they alone pledged $600 billion to invest in the US over the next 4 years. It goes without saying that that is not a small investment. That's jobs, that's innovation and prosperity for American workers. And I have to say, it feels good to have another country invest in us for once, because the last few years of watching our tax dollars get spent on everything else besides what benefits American citizens has been truly exhausting. Trump's America First trade policy was front and center, proving that he is the deal maker in chief. Now let's get to the crown jewel, if you will, of the visit, the economic partnerships that were signed. The White House called it a new golden era of US-Saudi relations, and they weren't kidding.
President Donald Trump is on a tour of the Middle East that could potentially rewrite U.S. relations in the region. His statements during events in Saudi Arabia have sparked new debates over globalism, previous wars, and a potential new way forward for international relations. And this also includes major investments and new agreements on defense. Donald Trump is calling this the launch of the golden age in that whole region, as the kingdom has committed $600 billion in investments in the U.S., including in defense, aerospace, energy infrastructure, artificial intelligence, and healthcare. As part of this, Saudi Arabia is set to purchase $142 billion in warfighting services and equipment from more than a dozen U.S. defense companies. The White House is describing this as the largest defense sales agreement in history. This could also signal closer ties between the United States and Saudi Arabia on regional security.
So this wasn't just about arms. It was also reported that Saudi firm DataVolt committed $20 billion to AI data centers and energy infrastructure in the US. Add to that $80 billion in tech investments from companies like Google, Oracle, and Salesforce. These deals, they strengthen our country, secure our energy future, and cement Saudi Arabia as a key partner. It's obvious what Trump's vision is: make America the global leader in tech and defense while creating jobs at home. So let's get into the reception that Trump received, because again, this shows what it means to be respected on the world stage as a country, as a partner, as an ally, and to have someone in charge that global leaders understand that there is a benefit to working with the United States for a mutually beneficial purpose, and not in the way that Biden and his puppet masters did, which were deals and concessions to line their pockets, serving everyone else's interests while hurting us. Saudi Arabia literally rolled out the royal carpet for Trump on this visit.
Donald Trump was treated like royalty. Did you see how Saudi Arabia rolled out the purple carpet? A Saudi fighter jet escorted Air Force One. Even the Saudi crown prince greeted him on the tarmac, completely breaking protocol, showing deep respect. They gave him a 21-gun salute honoring his arrival, and the color purple signifies royalty in the Saudi culture. He was awarded the collar of Abdulaziz Al Saud. I'm so sorry if I butchered that name, but this is the highest honor in the kingdom. This signals that the crown prince sees Donald Trump as an equal and a key ally. And hey, even Elon Musk was there. So I think it's safe to say that Trump had a monumentally successful trip to Saudi Arabia. This man is making moves beyond our wildest dreams. And I don't know about you, but I am so ready to see what happens next.
Not to mention, Arabian horses accompanied his motorcade upon his arrival at Al Yamama Palace in Riyadh. And this post by Tim Young says there are more American flags at Trump's arrival in Saudi Arabia than most Democrat events. #fact. And I did want to touch on the lavender thing because that is significant. In this post, it says, did you notice that President Trump was wearing a lavender tie today in Saudi Arabia? Turns out Saudi Arabia has fields of native lavender. And in 2021, they switched from red carpets for dignitaries to lavender ones. That's why he wore the lavender tie. He was even driven around the birthplace of Saudi Arabia by the crown prince himself. Trump spoke at a U.S.-Saudi investment forum where he started the night by walking out to Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA, because we know that that's his favorite song of all time. And this was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He played the entire song, and the entire crowd of Saudis stood and cheered the whole time. And you can see by the look on his face that he's truly grateful to be working with Trump and partnering with America. Now, this was a clip from his speech that was spreading like wildfire across social media. It's about 2 minutes long, but it is absolutely worth hearing.
Transformations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionalists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionalists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
And this was definitely a jab at the globalists and at the elites and at the people who think that they are so much smarter than everyday Americans, than everyday people who go to work every day and work hard. He is letting us know that we are the reason that things are built and that they are successful, that it's not about a small group at the top. And it's interesting that it's coming from a man who has run countless businesses and oversaw countless employees and contractors and people underneath him, where he could very easily just toot his own horn, like the narcissist that the media likes to pretend that he is. But instead, he constantly recognizes the value and the intelligence and the hard work and the dedication of everyday people, and the fact that all of these things are not possible without us. This was a speech about peace, about resolving conflict, about unity. You know, all of the things that the left constantly says that they want. But under their leadership, conflict gets worse. We are more divided, and peace has become scarce. People are tired of division. People are tired of unrest. They are tired of being angry. Well, most of us are. The left thrives on it, and we know that peace and unity is the last thing that they want. They want us divided. They want nations bombing each other because they make the most money when middle and lower classes suffer. And we, of course, have to contrast Trump's visit with Joe Biden's visit in 2022. This was a massive difference. Middle East reports called Biden's reception muted and lackluster. He did get a purple carpet, but there were no fighter jets. There was nobody really there to greet him. No music, no 21-gun salute, no band, nothing. In this post, it says, when Biden visited Saudi Arabia, the crown prince made him come to him. No welcome, no respect, just an awkward fist bump. Today, he broke protocol to meet Trump on the tarmac. That's not politics, that's power. The world knows who's strong and who's not. Biden went to Jeddah begging for lower oil prices to ease inflation, but Saudi Arabia rebuffed him, saying there was no supply shortage. And in this photo, I mean, he's just sitting there looking like he's waiting to be told what to do. Biden's visit was a diplomatic flop. Trump's was a triumph, proving he knows how to build alliances that benefit America. But of course, not everyone is happy. The perpetually miserable left always has something to be upset about. One CNN analyst suggests President Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia is merely a distraction from his failures.
Well, that's right. I mean, look, this is the kind of set piece drama. Trump is sort of the salesman in chief here, right? He's talking numbers. You know, are these numbers real? Are they not? Well, they are a distraction from the economic turmoil in the globe that Trump himself has unleashed over the last 6 weeks. And so in a way, it's getting the narrative back into kind of what you would call the photo op economics rather than, you know, the real world economics of the consequences of these tariffs that Trump has unleashed. And I would point out, even with the, sort of deep sigh of relief the markets took after the initial climb down because of the talks between the United States and China, we're still looking at 30% tariff on goods from China, which would have had economists and the markets in hysteria if it had not been for that. But I thought Jeff made an important point about the lack of actual meaningful national security deals on the table right now because of conditions in the Middle East. A lot of this is to obscure the fact that Trump is unlikely to come away with the big political and security deals that he is in search of in his second term.
We're just going to put a little pin in that video and revisit it when the successes and the wins continue. While the left tried to spin this as Trump focusing on economic prosperity over human rights, conservatives, we see this as pragmatism, building strong alliances to counter Iran and stabilize the region. And strong alliances throughout the world set the path for human rights. They make us more free, more stable, more successful, and more safe. And that is the foundation that you need in America and across the globe for people to be able to have human rights. When we're fighting each other, that's when we're oppressed and we're held back and we're uncertain about the future. There is no freedom in fear. And lastly, I do have to say that this flies again directly in the face of another lie that the Democrats tried to spread before Trump was elected, saying that if he were to end up in office again, it would mean World War III. Of course, they said that to scare people into voting for them because that's what they always do. And it's just number 1,987,642 of the lies that they have told about this man to keep him from the White House because they know that what he does threatens their paychecks and their power. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button on this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you back. Other than that, keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.